Hey there, creative entrepreneurs and photographers. Welcome to our Pro Series. This is where we give your biz a glow up one step at a time. Industry professionals are spilling their secrets and breaking down their coveted secrets of success. Without further ado, let's jump in. I'm your host, Rebecca Van. Let's go. Hey friends, have you ever considered using Facebook ads for your creative business? Today we're chatting with Katie Joynes, an uber successful wedding photographer who's transformed her business with Facebook ads into shooting consistent 9K weddings and more. And she's spilling the beans all about how she does it. We're going to chat about who Facebook ads are for, what's unique about them, how she's consistently booking super qualified clients, and how to make your ads pay for themselves. Let's jump in. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning into another episode here on Rebecca Van's photography channel. I'm so excited to have you here, and I'm really excited today because I'm going to be chatting with Katie Joynes, and she and her husband are a husband and wife photography and videography team, and they have recently stumbled upon this incredible way of, I think you were shooting, what, $3,000 weddings, Katie? And now you're shooting 9,000 and up as far as photography and videography. I think they're combined, right? Mm-hmm. So she is going to let us in on her secret today on how she found out this magic solution on, it's really not magic, it's just really hard work and determination and this really incredible key element in how they have been able to change their entire life. They stay home. Both of them work full-time from home now with 4 kids going on 5. One's in the oven right now, right? This is your 5th one in your belly. So Katie is a mom of 5 little ones right now. Super honored to be sitting here with her. I cannot wait for you to hear all the goodness. Before we start, if you could give this video a quick like and subscribe below, that would be super helpful and help other photographers that are trying to find this information and that might be super helpful for them to find it. So without further ado, Katie, can you introduce yourself and kind of tell us a little bit of backstory from where you come from and what you do?
Yeah, thank you. It's such a nice introduction. I've always heard those, like from friends, and I'm like, wow, those sound really nice. I wonder if mine will ever sound that nice. And I'm like, oh my gosh, pretty nice.
Yes, girl.
So we live in Delaware, and that's not really that booming of a market. I know some people talk about how when you live in a saturated market, it's bad, but then when you live in a not so saturated market, that's bad. And I think they're both equally as hard. The problem here is that no one really has any money. So, I mean, nothing really goes on here. But, Floyd and I, we wanted to have a photo and video business. I mean, we started at Burger King together. So we wanted to upgrade the Burger King paycheck a little bit. And so we just started trying all the things that everyone's probably trying right now, when it comes to booking weddings, like trying hashtags and like researching keywords and like, oh, got to make sure my site's SEO'd and like, let me attend this bridal show and just all these things. And we started doing all that stuff. And it just wasn't working. And then before we knew it, we were like, okay, we have no money. We're broke. He got laid off. I already had lost my job. So this was like all I did was photography. And I was like, okay, we have to try something. And I don't know about you or anyone watching, if you've ever got Facebook ads in your newsfeed about Facebook ads. Some of you may even have seen mine, but that's what I started getting. And I started getting them from like gurus, like these, really techie men that I couldn't really understand. But I was like, I'm going to try to figure this out because it sounds really cool. If I could just pay Facebook to like go and be my sales rep and go find me people, then I won't have to do bridal shows.
Right. I love that. That was your motivation to not do bridal shows. You and a lot of other photographers are in that boat.
Yeah, because we went and did a few bridal shows, and it was like after childcare and like getting all the samples, and then you sit there and you size yourself up next to everyone else, and you're like, oh darn it, I didn't do an album, and I didn't get this and I didn't get that, and they're not going to book me. And I'm like an introvert, like I am not the bubbly type. I cannot go up to someone and like shake their hand and give them a hug. I'm like, my face turns red. And I just can't do it. So I was like, yeah, I need to do online marketing. That's better than bridal shows. So we just worked really hard to try to figure them out. There's a system to how you use them. You can't just like boost the post and, you know, run ads. But once we figured it out, it was crazy.
You and I, when we were talking, I really, for the first time, found confidence in the Facebook ad system. And I think that there's so much just hype built up around them. I've heard people talk from the stage, and basically people from the stage that are intimidated by Facebook ads. I'm like, well, if they're struggling with it and they have to hire it out, why in the world wouldn't I have to? Like, you know, clearly there's a lot to this. I'm just going to take a hint and move along. I'm not going to try to figure this out myself, because it just seems like a mountain that I'm not willing to climb. But after talking to you, and I'm going to ask you some of the questions today that we've kind of already voxed about for other photographers who might be interested. But after talking to you and just hearing you break things down in such an easy to digest way, I was just like, okay, I'm going to have to like put Facebook ads in my life. There's just no way around it. Like, yeah. I can't imagine not at this point with my goals. And so can you tell us a little bit about who would benefit the most from Facebook ads, or maybe who it's for, who it's not for?
Well, first I'll say everyone, but okay. I will break it down. So I always recommend, if you have a consistent style in terms of photography, if you've really nailed down your style, then you're definitely right for Facebook ads. Also, if you feel like you have a good handle on who your ideal client is, because your market, like if you went in to build a campaign today, you would see that you probably have around 36 to 50,000 engaged couples in your area right now. And so if you run an ad and you try to talk to all of those people instead of your ideal client, you end up really speaking to no one. And then you just look like the general salesman that's like, you know, buy this car now and you save $5,000, and nobody wants that. No. So, consistency in your style and an ideal client.
I love that you have brought that up, because it is, as far as photography goes, having your consistent, I mean, you need to be at a certain level before you start advertising at this level, because you're investing in promoting your business. So you definitely need to have a few things in order, especially with style consistency. And you're obviously going to have to define your ideal client. So can you tell us what we would kind of need to know, or if someone's wanting to work with you on Facebook ad prep, what do they need to go ahead and be thinking about as far as their ideal client? Like, how would you help them break an ideal client down?
So I don't know about you, but I always found finding my ideal client so hard, because I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking for. Like, what am I supposed to like? I don't get how like the kind of coffee she drinks relates to like my photography. Like, this is annoying.
Yeah.
So, and then what I would do is, so I took like Jenna Kutcher's Instagram course, I think it was like back in 2016 when she opened it, and she like went through an ideal client for her weddings, and I was like, okay, that's my ideal client, because I don't know how to come up with one. So that's her. But then I realized that it's not about so much how old she is or what she looks like or what kind of car she drives. It's about the type of wedding and the type of experience, the type of personality she has, and what kind of photographer is she searching for. Because a lot of us think that we're just like searching for our dream client, but she's actually searching for you as well. And so finding that good mix of you and her, I like to think of it as who you used to sit with at the lunch table. Those are likely going to be your ideal brides. Who are your best friends and what are they like?
Yeah.
Ask them what, if they were to plan their wedding, what would it look like? And then you can start building your brand around that, because those are the people that you vibe with. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how nice your work is, your website. It's all about if they can connect with you as a person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love this. So my question is, how can an ad on Facebook express who you are as a person? Like, how does this work? Because you can't capture a person, right? What is different about a Facebook ad? What is its unique value proposition for a photographer, especially like a wedding photographer?
So basically what you want to use Facebook ads for is to generate inquiries, but you want to generate the right ones. And the way that you can do that is by calling out the pain points that they have right now, and showing the relatability, like you can relate to them and how they're feeling, and then offering them a solution. And this is I have a 4-step process for my ad copy that I give you. And this is basically how you run them all in your copy and the images you use and basically the offer that you're giving them, which is why I always recommend running to something free, like give me your email address and then we'll continue the relationship, instead of book now for $200 off, because
Right.
if people don't know you, they do not care if you have a sale. Like, you don't go in the mall and go in every single store just because they all have sales. You only go into the ones you like.
That is true. That is so true.
Yeah.
So how long ago did you stumble upon these Facebook ads that changed everything for you?
We started learning them in 2017, and then in 2018, in January, we got 63 inquiries, like generated 63 leads in our inbox, which was like more than we had like the whole previous year and probably like ever. And then we decided, like, well, we're going to take a risk and we're going to actually charge what we're worth, because it was also January and we knew we couldn't afford to pay our taxes because we charged too cheap.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's time to make a change. And then we booked a $9,000 wedding in February in 2018. And this bride told me that it was a good deal. And I'm like, what? Like, I still can't get over it. But I realized that to her, it was a good deal because I was everything that she was looking for. And my packages had everything in it that she wanted.
It's all about value. Yeah.
Yeah. People pay for what they want. They really do. And it's just about making that match, and making sure that you guys can connect on that. And I learned through this journey that just running ads and sending them to my website wasn't going to work, because let's be honest, everyone has a show it website with a pretty template. It's so easy to get one now. And now everyone's work is starting to blend together and look the same. So it's like, I don't know, like, how can I stand out? And so we started offering free engagement sessions and offering them before they sign the contract. So we would just go and shoot an engagement session. They wouldn't get all of the digitals, but it would be a free trial. And I'm like, well, if Honeybook can do a free trial, then why can't I?
What an incredible added value for a prospective bride to feel you out.
Yeah.
That's an incredible idea.
That's how they're doing it. They're going on a real life experience with us and seeing how we work with them, seeing how we pose them, and then seeing the photos. But again, it's all about how you connect with them at the shoot and how you make them feel when they're posing. And if you can get the groom to say, I had a great time, they're going to book you and they're going to pay the price tag, because now they don't know, if they see this girl with her website and her pretty photos, they don't know if she's really that good. They don't know what her personality's like, right? But they know you. They know you inside and out now. They know your whole process. And now they know that you're worth it.
People are writing down these words of wisdom because this woman is genius and she's so modest, but by the end of this, I hope she blows your mind as much as she's blown my mind, because these are the words that are coming out of her mouth that she just, every time she starts talking, I'm just like, boosh. I am so fascinated with this. So on top of going a different route with the Facebook ads, you're also adding incredible value for these brides. And so you're giving them a reason to trust you. You're giving them the security and the value that they want. You're giving them a test drive. You're letting them get in a Cadillac and drive around and make sure they like it. And once they try it, they're falling in love with it. They didn't realize how much they needed it. How could they say no? And so all these brides most of these brides you're finding through these Facebook ads through qualified leads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we have an application process that we send them through. It's not like a free giveaway and then we pick random people. It's a intimate experience, an exclusive experience, and you basically have to you have to apply for it. And then we talk to them on the phone and get to know them. And then we can really see, is this person likely to book me or not? Like, am I going to be good for her? Because I don't want to waste either one of our time, because they also don't get all the digitals. And so I don't want to go and shoot a session for them and they hate me.
Yeah.
And now they don't they would have to buy the additional images.
Right.
But I don't want to do that. So it's been a trial. We've learned a lot, and that's what we created our whole entire course for wedding photographers on, was this strategy. Because I was like, I think we're on to something, Floyd. Like,
you You definitely are. And I have a question to kind of pull back for a minute. When you said that January you got 63 or something inquiries, whereas it was probably close to crickets before, as far as like in the realm of Facebook world and organic world.
Yeah.
About how much money would you say you've paid for like the 63 inquiries?
So we usually only pay for our wedding photography ads. We're only paying $100 or less. And we're running it for 5 days at a time. So we'll run it for 5 days, $20 usually, maybe 25. And we generate a bulk, like basically all of the brides in my area. I want to get all of you right now. And then
so this is not ongoing. This is not an ongoing, never ending. That's what I thought it was. Okay, so tell me more.
So yeah, we run it once a month, and then we go in phases. So we'll do campaign week, where we're running the campaign, we're getting all the entries, then we're sorting the applications, and then we're talking to them on the phone. Usually you'll have about 100 people enter. And so when you get 100 people, you're like, oh my God, 100 brides, like I'm going Hollywood, like this is like game changer. But you do narrow it down to only between 5 and 10 of them will be your dream clients. But if you think about it, if you book just one wedding from $100, I mean, I'll pay Facebook all day to go get weddings.
One qualified wedding for $100 is done. Like, absolutely done. And that's the value of this, guys. Like, I want you to realize how powerful this tool is, because even as involved as I am in a lot of industry, I love our creative community, and I'm super involved, and I love meeting people and hearing what's going on and all the buzz around Facebook ads that I have heard over the years. I have never once heard someone tell me I can do this too. Like, here is how, and this is what you can do, and how it applies to my business. Like, how can Becca apply this, not just some big schmancy corporate owner. So I am super intrigued by the fact that this is not just an ongoing process. So you're talking about a single investment, maybe like once a month, or how often do people normally run these? Like,
Yeah, once a month. We have students, Chris and Michaela, and they gave us their yearly stats. Or I think it was like half a year, 6 months. They spent like $842 for $45,000 in bookings. So it was roughly $100, a little bit more than $100 a month for them. And they're in Florida, Miami, which is very competitive. So it does, it varies across the board. I find that slower cities do a little better, but especially if you're watching this and you live in a saturated market, this is the way that you can stand out. Not your good client experience, not your pretty website, because everyone has those now, although they do matter, but everyone's got them. You could try something like this where it's like, hey, I know that I'm good. I know that I'm good for you, and I'm willing to give you a trial and show you that. And no one else wants to do that. Everyone else wants to collect your deposit first before they give you that engagement session.
Right. You have to have a competitive edge. It's now more than ever, more than we have ever seen in our industry. You have to have a competitive edge. So what would someone put out so I'm more of a portrait photographer than a wedding photographer. I do shoot weddings, but 80% of what I shoot are portraits. So what would a wedding or portrait photographer, what type of ad would they make to find their ideal bride or ideal couple?
So for portraits, I always recommend, for each like industry I have, or each niche or niche, I don't know how to say that. I have my own little strategy that I found to work. So for the weddings, if you're a photographer, I always recommend the free engagement session. For portraits, if you're doing IPS, then you could do a free portrait session, a free trial, give them that same experience, and make sure that you're working with your ideal clients, especially not people that want to pay $100 for the digitals, because that's not worth your time. No. But I also do really, really well with mini sessions and doing mini session events. So scheduling each season 1 day or maybe 2 days based on demand, where I'm there for the whole entire day and I'm booking them. And what I'm focusing on all year is getting people on my email list. Like, get your potential clients and your existing clients, your family clients that you've worked so hard to build, get them on your email list so that you can just send them an email. And it's incredible when you get to send out an email and then you get notifications that say time slot booked, and you're like, oh, that was so easy, right? No more posting in Facebook groups and hoping you get some random low-hanging fruit that'll book you. This is how you can stay alive in your business. And in especially this economy. We have to start thinking like the corporate companies are thinking. You know, they're using Facebook ads and they have an email list that they value very much, because that is the lifeline of your business. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I would recommend.
I absolutely, this is gold, and it's music to my ears. And so if we go in, Katie, and we want to make an ad, so say I want to go in and I want to make an ad. What is the average time length of like idea, like once we log in and say we want to make an ad until the end and we've got it set up? How long does it typically take if you know your ideal client and you know all this information?
So I usually base this based on how long it takes me to teach it to you. So my building a campaign, one of my lessons is 20 minutes. So I would assume that if you're working alongside of me and you're watching the video and doing it as I go, then it would be about 20 minutes. I always recommend having your pictures and your copy done before you get into the ads manager. That way you can just slap those in there and you're good.
Okay.
And like writing copy at another time.
Yeah.
Don't do them both at once.
I love this. Okay, so Katie has this amazing program where I didn't realize this at first when I first met Katie, but I didn't know that she actually teaches people how to do this. And that's like the best news ever, because once you find someone that knows what they're doing, 9 times out of 10, they're not sharing how they're doing it. They're not showing anyone. They're not helping anyone. They're not helping the little ones,
like us trying to figure it out. And so anyway, Katie has this amazing program, and I want you to tell us about it. Katie, tell us all about all the things you do. What can you help us with?
So I have, in terms of Facebook ads, I have two of them. I have one for wedding photography, because I teach that engagement session strategy. So I have one that's solely for that. I also have a mini sessions one because I want to teach my signature mini session strategy. And then I have one for creative entrepreneurs that teaches you how to grow your email list and to run your own ads. I do not believe that anybody needs an ad agency or an ad manager or an employee to do that for them. I think they're just, once they're running, they're so ridiculously easy to look at. I would cringe at the thought of people hiring agencies, because they are a lot easier than they seem. It's just intimidating to get started.
Well, and we use an agency for the unknowns, the things that we don't understand, and we pay someone to fill in the gaps, but you're here and you know how to fill in the gaps. So why would we do that? It doesn't make nearly as much sense as, to me at least, as learning it, figuring out how to do it well the first time, and just investing wisely and knowing like how much to put down, and just investing in finding the right clients instead of just blasting from the rooftops. Because I mean, what, 5% of our following now sees what we post, if that. My Facebook business page engagement is way lower than that, and it's so unfortunate for organic growth. But we have this new option now, and we can roll with the times or we can not. So
Yeah.
it's all about it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, for the hard efforts that we put into our business, I want people to see it.
Yeah.
And if I have to pay for it, I will. And I just find ways to make your money back, so that you're not, investing a big budget, because no one has a huge budget for ad spend, right? Like,
right.
Absolutely wants to pay it either. But from my experience, I've hired $12,000 agencies in the past because I thought that they knew more than I did. And I ended up wasting money and not seeing results. So it's definitely something that can be done on your own. And I'm the person that when I get upset, I want to throw the computer at the wall, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I'm done. So I'm not a tech person.
I love that. I mean, I'm just the same way though. I'm not a techie person either. I want to be, but I'm not. And that's just how life is. And it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's just going to be that way. Excuse me. So tell me a little bit, Katie, like if someone were to buy or enroll in one of your courses, what would they expect? Whether they're a wedding photographer, a portrait photographer that does mini sessions, or creative entrepreneur?
So by the end of the program, my goal is for you to not only have your campaign running, but to also be making money from your campaign. So every single course I create, I want to teach people not how to generate inquiries, because inquiries are great, but they're nothing if you're not booking them. And that's a lot of the courses out there you'll see about Facebook ads. They teach you how to get someone to fill out your contact form. But let's be honest, how many times are we ghosted? All the time. And you don't want to pay $5 for someone to fill out your contact form and ghost you over and over and over again. So I'm always teaching you also how to make that money back, whether you're a wedding photographer, and teach you how to book them, the mini sessions, obviously. And then for creative entrepreneurs, it's the same thing, teaching you how to actually monetize this email list that you're now growing, because once again, it means nothing if you aren't making money.
And guys, I just want to tell you this because I can't say this without you being actually in one of the courses, but she can teach you how to make your ads pay for themselves in special ways. That's all I'm going to say. Like she's blown my mind over and over and over again. She's absolutely incredible. And Katie, is there anything else you want to leave us with before we wrap up?
I would suggest if you are thinking about trying Facebook ads, I would suggest sitting down with a piece of paper and writing out all the things you're doing currently to market your business and generate leads. And think about how many leads you've generated in the last month. And if you find yourself spending hours, focusing on these things, and you're not even booking the weddings, you're generating leads, I think it's time for you to try something else, because I don't even know how to use Pinterest. I don't even have a Pinterest. I don't do literally anything else now, like nothing else, because I don't have to. And that's what I would recommend, is don't get stuck in that hamster wheel of organic free traffic, because it's eating your time. So it's not really free.
Yeah, that's the truth. And as I grow and attempt to scale my own business, I'm looking at, okay, I can do the organic thing and I'm not against it. There is value in that, but it is very like drudging process. It's taking so long to get where I need to go. When I heard about this, that's why I was all ears, because what business doesn't want to grow? What business doesn't want an email list that has amazing qualified clients on the other end? Nobody, I don't think, not if we're trying to make money. So anyway, I am absolutely fascinated with everything you've brought to us. Now, Katie, if our viewers want to find you, where would they find you?
The best way is through Instagram, Katie and Floyd. That's where you can go and see. I talk a little bit about the strategy that we're using, and then a lot of, testimonials and things of people who are going through it.
Yeah.
I try to think about if you're a new photographer or if you are in a saturated market, and I show you different people who are doing the same thing. So definitely Instagram.
Awesome. So, and I'm also going to have all of Katie's links and courses below if you are interested. So definitely check them out. They will be in the description box. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I absolutely loved having you here. Thank you so much, Katie, for providing all of this value for us. If you guys have any questions for Katie, make sure you comment below and one of us will answer them within the next month. I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And Katie, thank you so much for everything. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Again, please like and subscribe, and we will see you next week.
You have to move on. Deal with your broken heart. You have to move on. Deal with your broken heart. No matter what you think, you'll never ever get enough of love. Even if you don't know that.